and welcome to This Week at Little Hills on this beautiful Easter Sunday. I hope you've been having a joyful Easter. He is risen. We're celebrating that our Savior is alive. And as we continue our series, 52 verses and 52 books in 52 weeks, we're turning tonight to the Gospel of Mark, where we hear his account of the resurrection. It's a little different than that of the other Gospels. It agrees in the details, and yet it's much shorter. And so I believe with that, Mark is confronting us with a particular issue and question that we all need to face as we go from Easter Sunday into the rest of the year. So let's go ahead and turn to Mark chapter 16, and we'll pick up in verse 6, where an angel is speaking to Mary Magdalene, Mary, mother of James, and Salome. He says, "Don't be alarmed." And then he goes on and he says, "You are looking for Jesus the Nazarene who was crucified. He is risen. He is not here. See the place where they laid him. But go tell his disciples and Peter, he is going ahead of you into Galilee. There you will see him just as he told you." Trembling and bewildered, the women went out and fled from the tomb. They said nothing to anyone because they were afraid. When we think about Easter Sunday, we think about big, joyful church services and family gatherings, things that are big and triumphant, recognizing what victory Jesus has accomplished for us. Big like the plane going over the head, huge, exciting things. And that's good. We should celebrate. We should celebrate Jesus' victory. And yet it's not bad to stop for a moment and remember what it was like on that first Easter morning when these women going into the tomb left in silence. They said nothing because they were afraid. If we encountered an angel, we'd be afraid. They were trembling and bewildered, it says. But more than that, it says they said nothing. And oftentimes, even as we're looking at God's promises, even as we experience them, we struggle to say something because we're afraid, because we're uncertain of how the pieces are going to come together. You celebrate Easter today and you hear about the resurrection and how Jesus is going to make you new too, anyone who trusts in him. And yet we look at the rest of our lives and it looks more like an empty tomb. It looks more like the trees without leaves than the beautiful flowering tree right behind me. And we're not sure how the pieces are going to work together. Mark confronts us in that moment to ask the question, what are we going to do in that moment? And the readers of Mark's gospel would have known what the answer should be, because these women, yes, it says they said nothing and were afraid at the end of Mark, but we know they did ultimately move on from that. They trusted in Jesus. They told people because, for one thing, it's written here. We're told they said nothing at that point. But then they went and they told the disciples. They got over their fear. They responded to the promises of Jesus. They remembered what he told them before, and they moved forward in faith. And that's what we're called to do too, to trust that Jesus' resurrection, his wondrous love, will see us through everything we face, even when the pieces are still missing, even when the tomb is empty, but we don't know where the Savior is. His wondrous love is with us. The other night on Maundy, Thursday, as we closed, Melanie led us in the first two verses of what wondrous love. We stopped there, but tonight we're going to have her lead us in the fourth verse, a verse of triumph, as we sing of what we will say eternally to our Savior, because he rescues us, he's resurrected, and he invites us into his presence for eternity. Let's go ahead and sing.
And when from death I'm free, I'll sing on, I'll sing on. And when from death I'm free, I'll sing on. And when from death I'm free, I'll sing and joyful be. And through eternity, I'll sing on, I'll sing on. And through eternity, I'll sing on.
Truly, what wondrous love it is that we sing of our Savior. Thank you, Melanie, for leading us in that song. And thank you to all of you for sharing part of your Easter Sunday night with me. It's a joy to reflect on what God has done and is doing. And we're going to continue tomorrow night. I hope you'll join me at 7 p.m. as we begin a brand new series, Alive, thinking about how the resurrection speaks into our lives and into the world, that we serve a resurrected Savior who is resurrecting us and someday will resurrect and bring to new life the entirety of the world. What a joyful thing. Maybe you know someone who's struggling with hope right now, someone who needs to take that Easter Sunday hope and carry it into the year. Consider prayerfully inviting them tomorrow night. Offer to be with them or to watch the chat with them or somehow be involved so that they will come and hear the hope of the Savior who is with us. I really think it's going to be an incredibly hopeful series, and I hope that you'll join me tomorrow night for that. Also, on Saturday night, we're going to be having a Little Hills live streamed meeting talking about the future of Little Hills and our plans to launch in person in the coming months. I hope that you'll join us for that at 7 p.m. that night as well. Hope you have a wonderful and blessed week and have a very happy rest of your Easter. He is risen.